This is Sheriff Spotlight with the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, highlighting the office and deputies dedicated to providing law enforcement services and maintaining the trust and support of Rockingham County citizens, all while keeping neighborhoods and communities safe.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to Sheriff Spotlight with the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office here in beautiful North Carolina. My name is Sergeant Kevin Southard. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, and I'll be your host for today's show. And our guest today is the Detention Center Lieutenant Wendell Brown. Lieutenant, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Great to have you here.
Yes, sir.
We've got a lot to talk about. Want to jump right in. First of all, why don't you tell our viewers and listeners about yourself, your career here at the Sheriff's Office, and what some of your duties and responsibilities currently are.
Yes, sir. I started with the Sheriff's Office in 2006. I started on the bottom level. I was a detention officer. I worked as a detention officer. I've been working as a detention officer for 14 years now. The last 5 years I've been in administration. During that time, after I came up to administration, I was able to go to BLET. I want to thank the sheriff for sending me to BLET.
Now, BLET, for those that may not be familiar with that program, what is BLET?
Okay, it's basic law enforcement training. That's where you actually have to go through the training in order to become a sworn officer.
So you go through the training, and it's offered here locally.
Yes, sir.
If you're interested in becoming a law enforcement officer, it's offered at the Rockingham Community College.
Yes, sir.
A few times a year, and it's about a 6-month course, depending on if you take the part-time or the full-time course. I believe it's 3 months.
Yes, sir.
And at the end of that course, you'll take a state accredited test.
Yes, sir.
And if you can pass that test, then you're eligible to become a sworn law enforcement officer.
Yes, sir.
So the sheriff gave you the opportunity to go through. Now, you started out as a civilian, correct?
I
Which
did.
a lot of our detention officers are, right?
They are.
And moved up the ladder to administration, and then had the opportunity. Now, what intrigued you about going through the basic law enforcement training course and becoming a sworn deputy sheriff?
Really, just the honor of being a sworn officer. Since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a state trooper.
Right.
That didn't pan out for me, so
Right.
I came to become a detention officer. As I got more into the field, I started liking it a whole lot more, and I suggested going to BLET, and I was approved.
Well, that's awesome. Well, those are the kind of opportunities that are available here to employees of the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, and we're all very thankful for that. Now, you said that you have been in the administration for the last 6 years? Is that 5 or 6 years?
5 years.
About 5 years?
Yes, sir.
Tell us what that entails, being part of the administration. Now, you are the jail commander's right-hand man, pretty much.
Yes, sir.
That's, our jail administrator is Captain Shane Bullins,
Yes, sir.
and you work directly under him in the day-to-day operations of the jail. Tell us a little bit about a day in the life, so to speak.
A day in the life of an administrator in the jail. Basically, we have to make sure that the inmates are doing what they're supposed to do, and we also make sure the officers are doing what they're supposed to do. We all live in this world together, and we have to coincide with one another. Inmates make mistakes as well as officers, and it's my job to get us both working together.
So,
comment.
exactly. So, working together, that mutual respect, you ensure that is taken care of. Now, there's a lot of questions that I generally, as the public information officer, get from the public with regards to inmates of the Rockingham County Detention Center. What happens if someone's arrested and booked into? Now, first of all, let me just preface that by saying the sheriff's office is unique because, unlike the police departments, the sheriff's office has the constitutional responsibility to provide security for the courthouse, serve civil process, and run the county jail. In our case, the detention facility.
Yes, sir.
Two of those fall under your purview.
Yes, sir.
The bailiffs that provide the security for the jail, for the courthouse, excuse me, and the administration of the detention facility itself.
Yes,
So, an inmate's booked into the Rockingham County Detention Facility. What's the standard procedure for all of that?
Well, they come into the jail. We issue them their bed linen, their towel, their washcloth, their jumpsuit. Book them into the system. After everything's done in booking, meaning fingerprints if they need to be fingerprinted. We have biometric scan to make sure they're who they say they are on their release date. We also set up their phone account. After all that is done, if there's immediate medical attention that's needed, we get them to the nurse. If not, we go ahead and house them, and the nurse will see them within a couple of days.
Now, a lot of folks may not know, but we have a medical staff
Yes, sir.
here
Yes,
working
sir.
in the detention
We do.
facility to address the needs of our inmates.
We do.
As well as a nutritionist
Yes.
on site. A lot of people may not know that. The sheriff makes sure that each inmate is provided, is it 3,000 calories a day?
2,500 a day.
2,500
Yes,
a day,
sir.
okay.
And-
So we have a nutritionist on staff that makes sure that everybody gets their required amount of nutrition that they need to keep
Yes.
everybody healthy.
Yes, sir.
And address any kind of medical needs and so on,
Yes, sir.
like that. So we want to make sure that our inmates, while they're in our care, are well taken care of.
Yes, sir.
And that's one of the sheriff's utmost priorities is, the care of the people put in our charge there. Okay, what else?
Okay. After they're housed, we have a classification system. They're put into a computer, and it tells us the location that they're going to be housed in.
Now there are different sections to the jail.
Yes, sir.
Everybody's not put in like one room
No,
together
sir.
or anything
No, sir.
like that, depending on the offense.
Correct.
Or, I know we have a separate wing for female
Females, yes, sir.
Inmates, and more violent crimes are put in one section as opposed to, and it goes on down. Correct.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you were here for the transition
I was
to this
actually
new
on the transition
jail
team.
facility. Yes, and so you worked in the old county jail.
Yes, sir.
Much smaller. Those were divided up into just several rooms where people were housed and such. This is a pod system where the officers are actually in the various pods with the inmates, direct supervision. It's worked out well for us so far. So tell us a little bit about how all of that works.
Well, you mean from the old to the new?
From the old to the new.
Okay. The old jail, there was really no classification. We just put them all in together.
Wherever we could, because
Wherever we could put
we
them.
had more people than we had space in the old jail, which prompted the construction of the new jail. Now, how many inmates can this new facility hold? I say new, it's 10 years old now, but it's still new to you and
new to
I
us,
who were
yes.
here for the old
Yes, sir.
old building.
It's
But
232.
232 inmates.
sir.
Okay. As opposed to, I believe it was
It
was a little under
97 at the old jail, and the annex held a little over 100.
Yeah, so our total capacity between the two jails was a little under 200. So, okay, all right. So the pod system, everybody's divided up. They're classified as to what their charges are.
Past history,
Past
what
history.
they've done while they've been in jail, whether there was any kind of dependency. We look at all those factors because for us, if it's someone I've never met before, I don't know anything about this person. Classification gives me an idea of how this person acts.
Right.
And that's what I have to use in order to put them wherever in
And
our jail.
we use information that we have too on like if an inmate has a problem with another inmate or is on the maybe a rival gang or
Correct.
something, say, then we don't want to house them in the same
Correct.
pod, obviously, for safety reasons.
Correct.
So we want to keep everybody safe.
Yes,
So,
sir.
that plays into it as well. Okay. That's interesting stuff here. Now, another question I get asked a whole lot is about visitation.
Okay. Visitation has changed a lot over the 10 years that we've been here. When we first moved over here, all our visits were on site. And they weren't scheduled, so there were times that we had 50 to 60 people in the lobby waiting to visit a loved one. Well, since then we have gone to a more modern system that allows for remote visits as well as scheduling visits. So
now this is really cool. I know you're a tech guy,
Yes.
and so I'm going to let you elaborate on all of this, because a lot of the questions I get is, and I know it's a fairly recent transition to the video visitation. I believe they can do it from home now. Is that correct? Okay.
Correct.
I'm going to let you go in depth about how to set up all of that and do that so that we can, let everybody know if you're at home and this is how you'd have to, because there's a certain process you've got to go through. You've got to sign up for an account on this system and do that. So tell us about that.
Yes, sir. I'll start from the inmate. The inmate can actually go onto the HomeWave kiosk that's in the pod, and they can actually text loved ones to tell them to sign up for a visitation.
Now this thing is called HomeWave. Is that correct? Correct. HOMEWAV.
Correct.
Okay. So would that be .com?
It is .com.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Continue.
So after that family member or a loved one gets that text, they can actually click on the link to send the text, and it'll take them out to download the app. There's also an app associated with it.
There's an app for everything these days.
Yes, sir. So after the loved one gets that text and they go onto the app, they sign up for their account. One thing that I've noticed here recently is that they're not attaching a picture of their ID, or they're attaching a picture of themselves with a filter. Everyone loves filters these days. We can't accept those visits or those accounts. So they have to have a clear picture of their self and a clear picture of their ID.
And that's just for security purposes.
Correct.
We have to make sure that everybody is who they say they are.
Right.
You have to provide proof of that.
Right.
We have to keep everybody safe.
Correct.
So that's another safety measure that's in place to ensure that.
So after they signed up for their account, it comes to me, and I'll go on and approve it. After I approve it, they're open to schedule a visit. Scheduled visits are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday between the hours of 1:30 and 5.
Now they don't. Now let me jump right in right there. They don't get to see them like you and I are sitting right across from each other. That's not exactly how that works.
No, I liken it as FaceTime.
Okay. So they can sit in our lobby, and we have some kiosks set up there that they can look onto the monitor, video conference kind of thing.
So after when they've set up the account, I go on and approve it. After I approve it, they're open to go and schedule their visits. They can schedule it one of two ways. They can dial 1-844-394-6639, and they would speak to an operator at HomeWave, and they would set them up for a visit, or they can do it from the app. I suggest you do it from the app. It's a whole lot faster.
Right.
And then on their scheduled date, they would just show up in the lobby. In the past, they would have to wait in the lobby with 50 or 60 people. Now they know exactly what time they're going to come in and what time their visit's going to end. So they can show up 5 minutes before their visit time, and they're out the door when their visit's over.
Now, do they have to make an appointment to do this under the new system?
If they're on site, yes, sir.
Okay.
But they can also visit remotely. That's any time that the inmate is out for their walk time. Okay. The remote visits are 30 cents a minute. For a 15-minute visit, it's $4.50. With gas prices today, you're spending that much to come out here for a free visit. When you do it at home,
you're still just going to see them on the video camera anyway. So
correct. When you do it at home, you're in the comfort of your own home. So personally, I think that's the way to go. Save money on gas.
Right.
You're going to spend it anyways.
Right. And not have to fool with the hustle and bustle of being out and the crowds and stuff like that. That's great stuff. Let's take a break quick, and we'll come back and talk some more about the visitation and the different ways that we have it all set up.
Yes, sir.
This is Sheriff Spotlight with the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, highlighting the office and deputies dedicated to providing law enforcement services and maintaining the trust and support of Rockingham County citizens, all while keeping neighborhoods and communities safe.
Have you ever considered a career in law enforcement? Do you think you have what it takes? Check out our website at rockinghamsheriff.com/careers. You can learn more about our exciting career field here in law enforcement and how to become a member of the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office team. We offer competitive salaries for sworn and civilian positions here at the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, as well as great benefits and advancement opportunities. Apply today. Welcome back. Now, before the break, we were talking about HomeWave, the new visitation service that we have, video visitation service for speaking loved ones to speak with inmates of the Rockingham County Detention Facility. And Lieutenant, you were telling us about setting up the app. What if someone has a problem in setting up the app or just doesn't understand it? What can they do?
Yes, sir. If you have a problem setting up the app, you can come by the office Monday through Friday, either myself or my partner, Lieutenant Stoltz. We can actually come out and help you set up an account on the kiosk in the lobby.
Okay, so if you need help, just ask.
Yes.
It's that simple. All right, we try to make everything as simple as possible here. So this is a great new system, and I'm a big fan. You know, it adds a lot of convenience for folks, as we were talking about before the break. Now, another frequent question that we have, how to get money to inmates on their accounts there. How does all of that work? If you want to give them, now that we offer canteen services, you know, little snacks and stuff they can get. If they want to give their loved one some money there during their stay here at the detention facility, how would they go about doing that?
Okay, we offer multiple ways to actually put money on the inmate's account. If you come by the office 24 hours a day, with cash, you can put money in our kiosk that's located in the lobby.
It looks like a little ATM machine.
It does.
Yeah. And it'll talk you through it. Well, actually, you know, it'll work you through it there. It'll give you the instructions and stuff.
Yes, sir. One thing I need to note is that it does not accept credit cards. It's only cash.
Here at the office?
Yes.
The machine at the office only accepts cash?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. You can also bring a money order Monday through Friday from 8 to 4. You would call our secretary and either she would come out and get the money order or myself.
Has to be a money order, no personal checks?
No personal checks.
Okay.
We also have a website, accesscorrections.com. You can go and actually use your debit card to put money on your loved one's account, or you can dial a phone number, and I have that here also. It is 1-866-345-1884.
Okay. All right. Now, what about letters to inmates of the detention facility?
Okay.
Now, there are certain things that you can send, certain things that you can't. Let's go into that, and then how you would mail a letter, or I don't want to say package because they really aren't allowed to accept packages or anything, but say you wanted to mail a letter, how would you go about doing that?
Our mailing address here is P.O. Box 186, Wentworth, North Carolina 27375.
And that's specifically for the detention center.
Yes.
And that address is on our website, rockinghamsheriff.com, under the detention center explanation and instructions there on mailing.
Okay, so a little about what will be accepted and what wouldn't be accepted. You cannot send your loved ones paper and envelopes. Okay, you can write them a letter, but you can't attach a envelope and stamp for them to mail you a letter back.
Right.
Okay. We don't accept anything showing any gang signs or provocative, no photos that were printed off of a computer, nothing that was taken from Facebook. We don't allow those into the facility.
And those letters are screened.
They are.
Before they reach the inmates.
Letters coming in and going are subject to be screened. Let's see. Books. If you are sending your loved ones books, they have to come from a publisher, whether that be Barnes and Noble or Amazon. They can't come from the individual themselves.
So it can't just come from your living room bookshelf.
Correct.
You know, a book. It's got to be shipped here from a reputable publisher.
Yes.
Okay.
And the books have to be softback.
Okay, so no hardback books.
Correct. No guns, weapons, or anything can be in the book. You know, pictures, that is. No pictures of guns, weapons, or anything like that can be in the book.
Okay. Okay. All right. And what else? Is there size restrictions to the packages and all that they can have?
I think it's
basically
a
it needs to
9
be
by
able to
11.
fit. Yeah, I was thinking
Yes.
say basically it needs to be able to fit in a mailbox.
Correct.
Yeah, in order to accept it.
Yes.
Because we do go to our PO box. That's where it's
Correct.
housed at. So okay. All right. Now we spoke a little bit earlier about another one of your responsibilities that you oversee, and that is the bailiffs who take care of the courthouse security.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about the bailiff's job, what that entails, and what your job as their supervisor entails.
Okay. The bailiffs, their job is, of course, security for the court. They work closely with the defense team as well as the judges to make sure that they're safe. Let's see, my job is basically to make sure that they have enough to do their job, enough officers over there. A lot of times I have to pull from other locations to staff the courthouse so that they're able to secure the courts. Let's see.
Well, you know, I know from experience, and I know you know as well, sometimes things get a little heated in court, differing points of view or, you know, so on and so forth, and keeping everyone safe, including, you know, the witnesses, the judges, the prosecutors, the attorneys,
jury,
the citizens, the jury, you know, we want to make sure that everybody remains safe, that nobody feels threatened, and that everybody has their needs accommodated, you know, that may have a problem, you know. So our bailiffs, I know, are there for that. Now, courthouse security too, the security, our security team, now they're not sworn deputies, but they work there at the front desk, the front entrance there. There's a desk with a metal detector and all in it.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the rules for what you can and cannot bring into the courthouse.
Okay. The major rule is a cell phone. Cell phones are no. Leave them in your car. Any kind of weapon, leave it in your car.
Pocket knives included. You know, no concealed carry, none of that's good in the courthouse. You can't bring any of that into the courthouse and leave your cell phones out there. What about laptops?
No laptops.
No laptops. Okay. Or recording devices along those lines. And that's per the judge's order. That's not our rule. That's the judge's rules for that. There is an exception set up for news media that can meet outside there in a specific area, not inside the courtroom, but in one of the halls there. We have a designated area set up that they could broadcast from in the event that they wanted to do that. And if they needed to do that, they would, of course, come see me and we'll get all that worked out. But just citizens can't bring it. And mainly that's because they don't want cell phones going off during court, disrupting the proceedings, you know, or anything else, or people playing games and all that, you know, or people just not paying attention. I mean, we've both been, you know, with folks that have been on that computer screen there and just oblivious to everything else going on in the world. And that's not something that needs to take place in court, because you need to make sure you know what's going on and so on and so forth. Because if they call your name and you don't sound off or you don't go up there, then you could be arrested for not being there. And, you know, once that's done, that's done. So, okay. That's good stuff, good stuff. So, leave all of that stuff in your car if you come to visit the courthouse there. What about the litter pickup crew? Now, we talked about that before on the show. That's that crew is also, oversight of that crew is also part of your responsibilities as a lieutenant.
Yes.
Tell us what they do to begin with. What is that program?
All right. Our little crew consists of a sergeant and an officer. They supervise
Sworn deputies. These aren't
deputies.
civilians. These are
Correct.
sworn deputies.
Sworn deputies. They supervise up to 6 inmates.
Okay.
And they go throughout the county and pick up trash on the side of the road.
Now, see, this is a really cool program, and we've talked about it before, but just to recap for those that may be new to the show or just tuning in, the litter pickup crew, it's a voluntary program for the inmates. It's low-level offenders, nothing violent or anything like that.
Correct.
They volunteer to go out, and there are certain guidelines with regards to the weather. You're not going to take them out when it's too cold or too hot or anything like that. But they help to clean up sections of the highway there. You know, of course, they're guarded by the 2 deputies we were just talking about, 2 sworn deputies we were just talking about. And all of this is paid for by the enterprise fund from the landfill.
Correct.
So the landfill is actually paying for all of this as opposed to the taxpayers. What benefits do the inmates have for volunteering?
Okay. For every 30 days, they basically get 4 days knocked off of their sentence. So
That they volunteer for. And not to mention, a lot of them just like to go outside, get a little
Correct.
fresh air
Correct.
and do a little something as opposed to sitting around all day. And
Yes.
you know, so, but it is completely voluntary. Nobody makes anybody do anything.
Right.
So it's completely up to you whether or not you know, the inmate, whether or not if you qualify.
Correct.
So they've picked up a lot of trash, I believe.
They have.
Yeah. I believe it was several tons off the side of the road there. So
As a matter of fact, on my way into work, just the other day, I counted the bags. There were 20 bags on one side of the road in less than a mile stretch.
well, you know, and just as a separate public service announcement, let's help put this program out of business. Stop throwing
Correct.
litter out on the side of the streets. We want to keep Rockingham County beautiful. You know, imagine you're a potential prospective business person and you're driving through beautiful Rockingham County thinking about whether or not you're going to establish your business here, and then you see all this litter on the side of the road. I mean, you know, we want to help keep everything beautiful. You can do that by just not throwing trash out of your car there. Put it in a receptacle when you get somewhere. So, okay. Well, with that, we're coming up on the end of the show. Lieutenant, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, sir. I believe we got it covered.
Okay.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, well, hey, look, we appreciate everything that you do here at the Sheriff's Office and for the detention facility. I know you keep things, you guys run a tight ship over there, and you really make sure that, like I said, the inmates' needs are accommodated.
Yes.
Now, just to clarify, their needs are accommodated,
Correct.
not so much their wants.
Correct.
You know, there's a difference. Medical needs, nutritional needs, so on and so forth. But because they want something, or you know, that it may not be something that we can accommodate. But we do our best to, you know, try to take care of the people that are, like I said, in our charge, and take care of our employees too. Now,
Yes, sir.
during the break, we talked about the potential for becoming a law enforcement officer. If you wanted to become a detention officer here at Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, now it's a good salary, it's great benefits through the county government there, and you don't have to be a sworn officer. You don't have to go through the BLET program. You can be a civilian and come to work as a detention officer. How would you do that?
You could go to rockinghamsheriff.com, click on careers. Once you click on careers, there are 5 steps that you need to follow. The most important steps to me as lieutenant when I'm looking at your application are steps 3 through 5. Make sure that those are complete and everything is done. I'll look at the application, get it to our background investigator, and we will hopefully be calling you for an interview sometime.
Now, you have to be at least 21 years old.
21 years old.
But you don't have to be sworn, but you do have to be 21.
Yes.
No criminal record,
No
obviously.
criminal record.
Obviously.
GED, high school diploma.
Right. Okay. And you need to be a people person pretty much.
Yes, yes, definitely need people skills.
Yes.
And during your first year employment, you will go to detention school.
So we'll send you to that. Once we hire you,
Yes.
then within that year span, and that's pursuant to the sheriff's training and standards. Within that first year, you have to go through, and I believe, what is it, a 4 or 5 week school?
Yes,
there.
4.
Just to basically, now you're going to get on-the-job training up until then and after that, but this is going to help you with the actual certification as a jailer.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, awesome stuff. Lieutenant, again, we thank you for coming on the show with us today.
Yes, sir.
We thank everyone for tuning in to the show, and we'll see you next month for Sheriff Spotlight.